Let's talk about your health for a second. What if I told you that the biggest things determining how healthy you are aren't your genes or your gym routine, but your zip code and your job? Kind of sounds wild, right? Well, today we're going to dive into an idea that completely redefines what it means to be sick and what it really means to be well. You've definitely seen this happen before. Some nasty bug makes the rounds at the office, and a few people just never get it. They seem completely fine. We usually just shrug and say something like, oh, they just have a stronger immune system. But what if the real answer is much, much bigger than that? To really solve this mystery, we have to change our perspective. We got to zoom way out. I mean, forget the microscope for a minute. We need to look past just the germ and the patient and start to see the bigger picture, the social roots of health itself. And that brings us to this core idea, social medicine. Now, the key here isn't just about treating an illness after it pops up. It's more about being a detective, uncovering this whole web of social, cultural, and economic factors that actually allow a disease to take hold. And then, and this is the crucial part, using that knowledge to prevent it. So what does that actually mean? Well, it starts with a simple truth. We're social animals. Our lives are all tangled up together. So because of that, any real prevention or cure has to take our social world into account. And that leads to the most important point here. Disease isn't just about some virus or bacteria. It's profoundly shaped by the actual conditions of our lives. And get this? This isn't some radical new idea. It was actually pioneered more than a century ago by brilliant physicians like Rudolf Virchow. These were doctors who had this huge realization. Sometimes, to heal a single person, you first have to address the sickness in the society they live in. Okay, I know this might still sound a bit abstract, so let's make it really concrete. We're going to look at a classic example that perfectly shows the power of social medicine in action. Let's talk about tuberculosis. A lot of us think of tuberculosis, or TB, as a purely biological disease. You know, it's caused by a specific bacterium, and that's pretty much the end of the story. But the story is so much more complex. So here's the first part of the puzzle. Millions and millions of people are exposed to the TB germ every single year, but only a fraction of them actually become infected. So why? Why doesn't it take root in everybody? And let's make the mystery even deeper. Even among the people who do get infected, a lot of them will never actually get the active disease. Their bodies just kind of keep it in check. So what's the variable here? What's the real deciding factor? And here's the answer. The outcome isn't decided by the germ alone. It's decided by these powerful social determinants. We're talking about poverty. We're talking about living in overcrowded spaces where disease can spread like wildfire. We're talking about malnutrition that weakens the body's defenses, and whether or not you can even get to a doctor in the first place. These are the factors that turn a simple exposure into a life-threatening disease. So if the causes are social, it just makes sense that the treatment has to be social too. And this requires a completely new way of thinking about how we diagnose and treat a patient. You can see the difference so clearly here. The traditional approach, it focuses on the biology. Find the germ, prescribe the drug, done. But the social medicine approach asks a totally different set of questions. It asks, what are this person's living conditions like? Can they afford good food to help their body fight this? Do they have the support to take their medication correctly day after day? It's about treating the whole person, not just the disease. And this all builds into a really practical toolkit. First is social pathology. That's basically just identifying the root social problems in a community, like poor housing. Then you've got the social diagnosis, figuring out how those problems are affecting a specific patient. And that leads to social therapy, coming up with solutions that fix the social problem. So connecting a family with housing support or providing food aid right alongside their medicine. So what does this all mean for us, right here, right now? Why is this concept, which is over 100 years old, maybe more relevant today than ever before? The crucial takeaway is this. Your health isn't just a personal responsibility. It's not just a product of your genes, your diet, or how often you hit the gym. It's profoundly shaped by the community you're a part of, your economic stability, and the society you live in. In other words, health is a team sport. And that brings me to a final question for you. Just take a second to think about your own community. What are the biggest social factors that affect health where you live? Is it access to healthy food, the quality of housing, job security? Because understanding those answers, well, that's the very first step toward building a healthier world for all of us. Thanks for joining me for this one.